from the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
Joining us on this live broadcast as we stay with the pictures coming in from America this evening as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris take oath. You're watching a special broadcast here on Republic TV in what will be one of the most watched global events in recent times. A very, very controversial elections in the United States of America, and Joe Biden is now taking oath. Those are live pictures coming in as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris check in to the White House in a short while from now. Joe Biden, known as a people's person, a reformer, a unifier and a healer, who rose remarkably from humble beginnings to become the oldest American president in American history, has reached the pinnacle of his political career, spanning nearly 5 decades. And as we stay with these live pictures, as we stay with this global event, introducing Dr. Sriram Cholia, who is a contributor at Republic TV on international affairs, Saurabh Shukla, who is a partner of Republic and editor-in-chief News Mobile, Manjeet Kriplani, executive director, co-founder, Gateway House India, live from Mumbai, Kartikeya Tanna, political commentator and lawyer, live from Miami this evening. As we stay with the pictures, also introducing Ravi Batra. He's an eminent attorney and chair of the National Advisory Council for South Asia Affairs. So he's watched this election very closely and everything that relates to India and America relations. We're staying with the live pictures, and that's the next U.S. President, Joe Biden, who will be speaking any time now, and also joining us on the broadcast as we stay with those pictures and wait for Joe Biden and his opening speech. Arun Kumar, former ambassador, also joining us live, coming to you first. Ambassador Arun Kumar, what next, in your view, on the India-America relationship? In fact, I'm going to cut across live. I have to cut across live. Let's cut across to Washington, D.C.
Ladies and gentlemen, here for the singing of our national anthem, accompanied by the President's own United States Marine Band, please welcome Lady Gaga.
broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Saved us that star-spangled banner yet wave on the land of the free and the
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the city of South Fulton, Georgia Fire and Rescue Department, President of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 3920, Fire Captain Andrea M. Hall for the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What you are all about to be part of, America, is a historic moment of firsts. To administer the oath to our first African American, our first Asian American, and our first woman vice president, Kamala Harris, it is my great privilege to welcome to the inaugural stage the first Latina to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States of America, Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please welcome Jennifer Lopez to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the President's Own United States Marine Band.
Well, that was great. The sun is shining, and Mr. President-elect, this is the first inauguration in the history of America where J-Lo was the warm-up act for Chief Justice Roberts. With that, it is now my distinct honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, to administer the presidential oath to the next President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
While we wait for Joe Biden to be sworn in, let me quickly go across to our panelists who've been waiting patiently and watching one of the most watched global events. Let me go across first to Arun Kumar. Arun Kumar, what is your expectation, sir, of the India-U.S. relationship under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Let me quickly get in your thoughts first, and then we'll have to cut back live any moment now. So let me toss to you.
Yes, today we have the 46th President of the United States and 49th Vice President of the United States sworn in, which we all saw. It's a great era between India and United States, which has yet to commence from today. I have seen through my experience that right from the era of President Clinton onwards...
Yeah, I'm really sorry to apologize. I'm really sorry to cut you short there, sir. I'll have to cut across live. That's Joe Biden taking oath. I'm coming back to you, Ambassador.
Vice President Harris, Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, Vice President Pence, my distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. This is America's day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious, democracy is fragile, and at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So now, On this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look ahead in our uniquely American way, restless, bold, optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know the resilience of our Constitution and the strength of our nation, as does President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service. I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken, the oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we, the people, who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We are good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go. We'll press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities. Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain. Few people in our nation's history have been more challenged or found a time more challenging or difficult than the time we're in now. Once-in-a-century virus that silently stalks the country. It's taken as many lives in 1 year as America lost in all of World War II. Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer. A cry for survival comes from the planet itself, a cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism, that we must confront and we will defeat. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January, on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause. Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness, and hopelessness. With unity, we can do great things, important things. We can right wrongs. We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are not new. Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all are created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together to carry all of us forward. And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge, and unity is the path forward. And we must meet this moment as the United States of America. If we do that, I guarantee you we will not fail. We have never, ever failed in America when we've acted together. And so today, at this time, in this place, let's start afresh, all of us. Let's begin to listen to one another again, hear one another, see one another, show respect to one another. Politics doesn't have to be a raging fire, destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject the culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured. My fellow Americans, we have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around. Here we stand in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, as was mentioned earlier, completed amid the Civil War, when the Union itself was literally hanging in the balance. Yet we endured. We prevailed. Here we stand, looking out on the great mall where Dr. King spoke of his dream. Here we stand where 108 years ago, at another inaugural, thousands of protesters tried to block brave women marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris. Don't tell me things can't change. Here we stand, across the Potomac from Arlington Cemetery, where heroes who gave the last full measure of devotion rest in eternal peace. And here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever. To all those who supported our campaign, I'm humbled by the faith you've placed in us. To all those who did not support us, let me say this. Hear me out as we move forward. Take a measure of me and my heart. And if you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably, within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did. Many centuries ago, St. Augustine, a saint of my church, wrote that a people was a multitude defined by the common objects of their love. Defined by the common objects of their love. What are the common objects we as Americans love that define us as Americans? I think we know. Opportunity, security, liberty, dignity, respect, honor, and yes, the truth. Recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit. And each of us has a duty and a responsibility as citizens, as Americans, and especially as leaders. Leaders who have pledged to honor our Constitution and protect our nation, to defend the truth and defeat the lies. Look, I understand that many of my fellow Americans view the future with fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next. I promise you, I get it. But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions, distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do. We must end this uncivil war that pits red against blue, rural versus urban, conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts, if we show a little tolerance and humility, and if we're willing to stand in the other person's shoes, as my mom would say, just for a moment, stand in their shoes. Because here's the thing about life. There's no accounting for what fate will deal you. Some days, when you need a hand. There are other days when we're called to lend a hand. That's how it has to be. That's what we do for one another. And if we are this way, our country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation. And I promise you this, as the Bible says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together. Together. Look, folks, all my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here, we all understand the world is watching all of us today. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again. Not to meet yesterday's challenges, but today's and tomorrow's challenges. And we'll lead not merely by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. We'll be a strong and trusted partner for peace, progress, and security. Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. And my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. We'll honor them by becoming the people and the nation we know we can and should be. So I ask you, let's say a silent prayer for those who've lost their lives and those left behind, and for our country. Amen. Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up, all of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour? Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children? I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. There's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Let's us add our own work and prayers to the unfolding story of our great nation. If we do this, then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best, they did their duty, they healed a broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together, we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, and devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Garth Brooks to perform Amazing Grace.
Statesman-like speech, very promising. But what does it mean for the India-U.S. relationship? Let me go across and get the first thoughts from our panelists who've been patiently waiting as the event continues in Washington, D.C. Ravi Batra, your expectation of what's to come as far as the India-U.S. relationship is concerned. Things are very different from what they were even a year ago.
Abhishek, it's good to be with you and with 1.3 billion friends of America in India. It is our holiest day. The reason we have a constitution and the reason we have an oath to the Constitution is for today, that there is a peaceful transfer of power, which we have witnessed. We have also just come out of 4 years of the great disruptor, Donald Trump, who has shaken up America and shaken up the world. And today we just saw the great healer, Joseph Biden. What he has done today, he has hit all the notes. And the best note he has done is he said, America, America, I've given my best to you. That is above and beyond the oath of office to defend the Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic. And on January 6th, it is true that we had our rebirth. It was our American spring. And in a few short hours, we celebrated two new American heroes, Vice President Mike Pence on that day, and Senate Majority Leader then Mitch McConnell, who continued the work of the Republic. We are today stronger because of the great disruption. We've just had our spring cleaning. We are therefore back to our roots, back to 1776 of Declaration of Independence. But most importantly, we're back to 1787 when we created the Constitution and allowed each one person's vice to be matched by another person's vice and get greater good for mankind and to create that perfect union. We have Kamala Harris today, a daughter of an Indian immigrant and a Jamaican Black immigrant to the United States, take the oath of office as vice president. A woman, Black and Indian American, taking the oath of office. This is the United States. We are at our best today. We have been reborn on January 6th, and we are stronger for it. And as far as India is concerned, it never had anything to worry about because India has always been America's best friend. India was there when we were born with the American Revolution in Boston. It was Indian tea. India survived Lord Cornwallis after George Washington beat him. So we've always looked to India as our best friend, and you will never find America lacking. The days of Nixon are over. America appreciates India, and today an Indian American ancestry graces the vice presidency of the United States. So we are sharing with you, and I'm delighted to share with you on Indian soil while celebrating America at our best, because we are today truly at our best. Peaceful transfer of power. The oath to the Constitution was honored. Within hours, of January 6th attack. And so I say to you, India and every Indian can celebrate that America is back. We're stronger than ever. And we are, as any reborn person in religion would tell you, we are as strong today as we were in 1776 and 1787. And the world better be careful because Joe Biden is a really, really, really good man. And don't mess with him because while he's good, don't mess with him. Okay? So now that we've got our compass recalibrated, America, you've got your best friend, and you better treat us as one. And if you don't, you do it at your peril.
Yeah. Ravi.
Yes.
Ravi, let me take that point across to Manjeet Kriplani as you know, we go across to all our panelists and get in their first thoughts. Manjeet, he made a few points. Recalibration was a key word that I picked up from what Ravi Batra said. Something that even Joe Biden stressed upon about alliances and about rethink. He mentioned the word alliances and he said there will be a rethink and reshaping of alliances vis-a-vis America. Now, how do you see that play out, especially in the Asian subcontinent?
Abhishek, Joe Biden has inherited a completely different world from the world that was before, when Donald Trump took over. Donald Trump actually he took over at a time when the old order was still in existence. These last 5 years, and especially this last 1 year, the new order has actually come to pass. And so the recalibration is necessary. In particular, there's going to be recalibration with China. It's going to really reshape Asia. We can see from all the countries that signed RCEP, which ones are still with China. Japan and Australia, despite being part of the Quad, still signed on to RCEP. And that means China is a big player in that grouping. So a recalibration is necessary. It's inevitable. I think with India, the relationship is just going from strength to strength, US and India. We are predominantly just now a defense. The G2G relationship is defense, but the business-to-business relationship is private sector. That is what we need to really expand. The P2P relationship, people-to-people, is fantastic, growing, but we need to expand the business-to-business relationship, and we need to deepen the G2G relationship to make it really work as a relationship for the next few decades.
Sriram, if I can get you in on Quad, because Manjeet mentioned. Okay, yeah, Ambassador, you wanted to come in? I think Ambassador Arun Kumar wanted to come in.
Yeah.
Go on, sir. Can I put the Quad question to you, Ambassador Kumar? The Quad question, do you see any change in that?
Okay.
In that grouping? Or do you see it goes from strength to strength?
First of all, Quad has been strengthened by our 3 agreements with the United States last year. All those agreements are well known to you. And the communication and all the intercommunication between the armed forces of the United States and India is now possible. Our satellite communications and our intelligence sharing, these are very important points. I don't think Quad is going to be strengthened further. And I'm sure the current President Biden will back it up, 100% back it up. You see the idea, even Mr. Biden has said very clearly that I take inspiration from the presidents who were before me, from the both sides. And so is Prime Minister Modi just now said that we are going to take Indian-American relations to new heights. All these things signify that there is a great possibility of enhancing Indo-American relations from political side, from economic side, from military side, and the last and the most important, strategic side. These Quad and other things are all strategy, and they are being focused by Modi and as well as President Biden. They will never give it up. There is no question.
Ambassador, the reason I asked that question is, and Ravi Batra will remember, during Howdy Modi, I was there in the U.S. and I met Ravi Batra in New York, and I remember speaking to him about the Modi-Trump bonhomie, and I want to put this question to Saurabh. Saurabh was also there, and there has also been a little bit of political recalibration, hasn't it? Saurabh, do you see a recalibration also from Delhi side? How do you see things change, or will things remain the same, or will things get better, or will there be challenges? Saurabh.
Niranjan, I first met Joe Biden as a senator, and I can tell you, you have a friend of India in the White House and you have a friend of the United States at 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. I can tell you the bonhomie between Narendra Modi and Joe Biden will take this relationship forward, because both of them believe in the strength of democracy, in the strength of a multipolar world, and they realize the challenges. He spoke about the challenges of domestic terrorism. Narendra Modi realizes the challenges of domestic terrorism which exist in this country. So there are enough and more strands. They will focus on climate issue. India has been a country which is at the forefront of the climate, taking on the climate change crisis. Joe Biden's priority will be that, fostering closer defense ties, fostering making sure a democratic Indo-Pacific that is in the interest of democracy, creating a confluence of democracy. I would say this is a new dawn for America, but this is a new dawn for democracies across the globe, because you have a president who understands the nuances. He is somebody who has suffered personally. He knows the value of healing touch. He knows the value of how victims of terrorism have, the families which have gone through this misery for so long. So I believe that under Joe Biden and Narendra Modi here in Delhi, you will see a renewed focus on a relationship. Yes, they will agree to disagree on certain issues, but as mature democracies, we will take this to a new high. 2021 will be a year of America and India and of coming together in a new era under Biden-Harris. Niranjan?
So, one thing I can tell you, and I want to go across to Sriram, because Sriram has been studying this issue very closely. Sriram, there were challenges with Donald Trump, let's accept it, especially on the trade front. And we know how he played hardball with India on the trade front. And we all know it. He kept India hanging, if I can use that word, for a long time. And there was no clarity whatsoever on the trade front, right? On the trade deal with India. And we know how hard India has been trying. So, Sriram, as far as Joe Biden and the Biden-Harris combination is concerned, they have already indicated a lot of play for Indian Americans, key positions in the administration. Now, I'm not linking it to any change in policies, but certainly it's going to be very interesting on what could be on offer vis-a-vis India. Sriram.
Yeah, Niranjan, I think we are almost close to finalizing a bilateral trade agreement that will lift some of these tariffs, steel, aluminium and all these things that Trump had imposed. I think this year we can expect a forward movement on that, because the volumes we are talking about in India-U.S. trade are not so huge, so the stakes are not so high. Definitely Biden will not lift the China tariffs that Trump had imposed, because those are a key point for leverage with the Chinese going forward about following a rules-based international order. So I think they are going to make that distinction. In Trump's time, it was indiscriminate. It didn't matter whether it's a democracy or a dictatorship, whether it is India or China. He just went, all out in the name of protecting American workers. But I think Biden administration, the liberals, is more a traditional establishment type of view towards the world, where they make this distinction. And so I think we can expect yes, Niranjan.
Sriram, I wanted to. Sriram, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I have to take this short commercial break at this point. We will continue with the live broadcast for another 20 minutes, so I will request our panelists to stay with us. I will take a short break, come back and stay with the live coverage and get your comments on what's going on in Washington and the change of administration. Stay tuned.